What's going on? Welcome back to Waiver Wire. I'm Money Mike here with Marco Nunez, former head athletic trainer for the Lakers, and he does Evolve Athletic right now in his own practice. He's out there. He helped me out actually this weekend. My daughter had her knee got dislocated, and he told me everything to tell the doctors, which really helped out. So. Go ahead and follow him on Evolve Athletic Instagram. He'll reach out to you too. Anyway, hey, we out here for one reason and one reason only, because everybody gets hurt every week in the NFL. And so this is the Waiver Wire podcast. Welcome everybody again. So we're going to get right into it. Let's talk. Go ahead and talk about. I'm sorry, Marco. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing well. I could be better, seeing that I played you this weekend in fantasy football.
And, well, you played me. So what happened? What was supposed to happen happened.
Well, according to the projections, didn't. But now rolling into it, obviously, my number one pick got hurt during the game.
Yeah.
This is the first one we're going to talk about is Jonathan Taylor, running back for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk. First of all, Jonathan Taylor, to me, really, he was a surprise last year with, his performance. I think he's been actually a little bit of a bust even before the injuries. But, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about him with his ankle. What do you have on him?
Correct. So, I mean, Jonathan Taylor, this is something that you and I talked about along with StatPad right before the podcast, as far as how many number one picks every year are somewhat of a bust, or at least they don't hold up to the expectations that we want them. And it seems like Jonathan Taylor is one of them this year. I had the number one pick in our league here, and obviously Jonathan Taylor was right there, so I kind of had to take him. So, but bottom line, Jonathan Taylor kind of sustained what you would call some form of ankle sprain or ankle injury. They don't know the degree of it right now. What they're going to do, they're going to probably do further exams, get an MRI done probably either tomorrow, Monday, if not no later than Tuesday, and then they'll go ahead and review exactly what's going on that part. And then at that point, we'll have a better idea as far as his status for week 5. So for those that follow us here on the podcast, also make sure you follow us on Instagram, where I'll be posting some of the updates as they review the results of the MRI and see how he progresses. So as of right now, bottom line, we don't know whether it's going to be doubtful. We don't know whether it's in. So we just haven't. They're probably going to put him down as questionable right now for week 5.
Okay, cool. Let's go on into Javonte Williams. I'm about to say Adams with the Broncos. He had a knee injury. What do you think he's going to probably have to have an MRI?
Well, yeah, one for sure that he's going to get an MRI done to confirm it. Now, the one thing that's coming out of Denver right now is that they're a little concerned that they think that might be more serious than what it appears to be. I think from some of the reports out there, it was saying that he actually walked out with crutches. He wasn't able to put any weight on it whatsoever. So I suspect that they're suspecting a potential ACL injury. Okay. On that part. Now, if that's the case, that pretty much tells you that he's going to require surgery and he's going to probably be out for the rest of the year. Which is going to probably lead to more carries and more workload, which is going to, I'm kind of either getting ahead of myself as far as the waiver wire pickup for the week. Melvin Gordon.
Right.
Melvin Gordon is right now, I know they were sharing a little bit. I know they want Javonte Williams to be the guy, but if he's not going to be there for a long period of times, Melvin Gordon is going to pretty much take a majority of the carries away from, or take more of the carries now, or the other load, basically.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll just have to wait to see, though. But when you see somebody going on crutches and not able to put any weight at all,
that's not a good sign.
That's not a good sign at all. Not okay. So yeah, we definitely have them as doubtful. What about Kenny Galladay?
So yeah, Kenny Galladay, receiver with the New York Giants. So the New York Giants, as far as receivers, for some reason they're just falling apart. Obviously, Sterling Shepard had the ACL injury last week. He's out for the season.
Yeah.
Kenny Galladay is supposed to be the guy that's supposed to be coming in. I think they gave him a bunch of money this past year. He didn't play either. I think week 2 he didn't even play. He had a huge drop. I think week 3 type of thing. So he's kind of suffering from an knee injury. So it's just a matter of waiting and see how he progresses throughout the week. Now, I know it's nothing serious as of right now. They're not looking to do an MRI or anything like that, but we'll see if he practices this upcoming week, and then we'll be able to determine his status for week 5.
So let me ask you on that. So, if he's able to kind of walk and not too much swelling, they just going to go ahead and bypass MRI. They don't do just that, just a double check.
Well, for some of these guys, they will probably go ahead and do it just to kind of rule out anything and kind of find out what's going on. But if there is no major swelling, there's nothing in there, that he has a little soreness or they can kind of pinpoint it to, let's say, something simple as patella tendonitis that you don't really need to have an MRI, then they just treat it and kind of grow with it type of thing. But if there is kind of puffiness, swelling, good amount, I know there's something that you and I talked about that part. Then yeah, they'll go ahead and do an MRI just to kind of rule out as far as see what's going on, why the swelling is accumulating in that area.
Yeah, okay, cool. Let's go ahead and talk about Noah Brown, wide receiver for the Cowboys.
Yeah, so Noah Brown has actually been doing well the last 2 weeks, especially now with it's been only CeeDee Lamb, and then Noah Brown stepped up as the number 2 receiver. I know Michael Gallup came back this week from the ACL injury. I know Michael Gallup got a touchdown. It's something I think I had posted on our Instagram account of making sure hopefully you guys picked up Michael Gallup last week before they played, because now he's going to be him and Noah Brown are sharing the number 2 spot type of thing. But I expect Michael Gallup to kind of step forward and bypass Noah Brown and actually become the number 2 guy. But in this case, Noah Brown, I think from the reports talking about is that he left the game with the neck and arm injury. And I think from what I saw, he kind of kept shaking his arm, and what that kind of tells me is he probably sustained a little bit what they call a stinger. Probably got hit in the neck, had a little bit of whiplash, sent some like nerve sensations down his hand, a little numbness, tingling. So he was trying to kind of shake it off type of thing. So now it's a matter of waiting and seeing how he does throughout the week as far as with the neck injury. And what I mean by neck injury, most likely he's probably sustained, like I said, some whiplash, some muscle spasms, some muscle tightness type of thing. If he doesn't play in week 5, for sure, CeeDee Lamb's going to be there. And Michael Gallup's going to probably increase his workage for week 5.
Yeah, but I think, something like that for a nerve, that could kind of heal. So would you have him as probable for coming next week?
Yeah, that's something that should be able to recover pretty quick. It's nothing that shouldn't last in a long period of times. If any, he may miss 1 week, week 5, but you can expect him back to week 6. But it's just a matter of trying to see how he does throughout the week. So I don't expect him to be out for week 5. He should be able to kind of fully recover from that and be able to participate in week 5. So then the question begs is, who's going to be the number 2 receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, Noah Brown or Michael Gallup?
Well, what's interesting in the quarterback for the
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush. He's really been balling, man. I mean, I've really been impressed about what he's been able to do with Dak out. And they're talking about he's kind of setting records and in what he's been able to do as far as yards passed,
correct,
and comeback games and touchdowns and everything for like a starter. With the few starts that he's had, and they're talking about it may be over because Dak may be back. They were mentioning that. So, what do you think? You think Dak maybe come back next week?
Well, that's the thing. A couple of things.
And I know I skipped ahead, but
no. Yeah, I know you. As far as Cooper Rush, I know that there was a statement by Jerry Jones that he actually said that he would love to have a little competition for the starting position, like a little battle between Cooper Rush and Dak Prescott. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Dak Prescott's going to take it.
Dak took sent Romo to retirement. We never know.
I mean,
we never know.
It happens all the time. Tom Brady, same thing. But either way, I expect Cooper Rush at the end of the season, whether he stays with the Cowboys, I expect him he's going to get a starting job or an opportunity somewhere else if it's not with the Dallas Cowboys. But bottom line, I think this either allows Dak Prescott and maybe take some pressure off of him as far as rushing him back. I know there was talks about him coming back as early as, within 3 weeks. So probably as early as week 5 or even week 6 type of thing. In this case, I mean, they've won the last 2 games with Cooper Rush. So it allows them, allows Dak some time to be able to, hey, you know what, take your time, recover, and then be back. Your job is there. So there's no rushing him back on the field type of thing. But yeah, I think that some of the reports, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves for the updates, but some of the reports we're talking about that Dak Prescott's already throwing the ball out in practice. He had his stitches removed, stuff like that. So that's a positive sign. Whether he comes back week 5, we don't know. Potentially week 6 is probably a good spot. But the question again is, do they need to rush him now?
Yeah, I mean, I think Dak.
No pun intended with Cooper Rush.
well, like I said, I think Dak, man, may want to hurry to come back. Simply because he doesn't want the job to go away. But yeah, let's move on. I'm sorry I skipped ahead, but I felt it was a really good segue because I mean, friggin' the Cowboys are actually winning without
Dak Prescott.
And when you have a Jerry Jones, he doesn't care.
He just wants to win, whether it's Cooper Rush or Dak Prescott.
Right. So look, I'm gonna go ahead and bunch this up. We've had Tua, Brian Hoyer, Isaiah McKenzie, and Tyrod Taylor.
Yep.
They all fell up under the concussion protocol. I want to dig a little bit deeper into Tua, because everybody saw what happened. The unfortunate scene where the neurologists were saying, by the way he put his hand up, he was having a neurology episode, and they knew that it was a head injury. And the Dolphins are getting a lot of slack for not putting them underneath the concussion protocol a week before. But my question is, how do we really know that they really had that he really had an episode, or do we think that this would have happened anyway, even if nothing would have happened a week before? I think it's more coincidence than anything else. What do you think?
So, yeah, no, you're right. And I think this is something that we talked about right before the podcast, as far as that if, let's say, he did not have the concussion injury or the head injury in week 4, nobody would have probably mentioned, nobody would have said anything. It would have been kind of water in the bridge. But even having said that, there was still some controversy from week 3, because if you recall, the NFLPA decided to do an investigation as to why in week 3 he wasn't in the concussion protocol. So something was already there. Something was happening. The NFLPA wanted to investigate, why did he return so quick? Why did he not go into the NFL concussion protocol type of thing? And I think that's something that we talked about in our last podcast. Is that something that I noticed, which was kind of interesting, is that they never, after week 3, they never categorized him as a concussion. They kept labeling him, his injury, as a back injury. Which was kind of interesting for me to see. If you watch the video with him in week 3, he gets knocked down, gets up, tries to walk to the huddle, and then just collapses down. Kind of, you can tell, like a little like Bambi with his legs, but drops. Even his offensive lineman grabs and picks him up, looks over to the sideline, and kind of waves in the training staff right away. Even his own line knew something was going on wrong, type of thing. So yeah, so there's things going on. There's investigations going on that part as to why he was allowed to play in week 4. Should he have been kept out? I know you and I talked about that. Now the independent neurologist that examined him has been fired.
Which again, that's really that's the interesting thing, because if the independent neurologist checked him last week and cleared him, then he would have done his job per se. If they did not say, because what I mean by that is, if they didn't think he had a concussion on week 3, and the individual neurologist went and checked him out anyway, that means to me that they were being overly cautious, theoretically. So, right, because he wasn't underneath the concussion protocol last week. It was a back or neck injury. So why are we firing the neurologist week 4, the independent neurologist, if number one, if he did check him and cleared him, then that means that they did a better job than what was required.
Correct. So you're right. So that's a perfect question that you're asking right now. Is that one? If a player's having concussion symptoms, you send them to the neurologist, right? If they don't have any concussion, they show no signs whatsoever, like, why are you sending him to the neurologist already in the first place? So it's almost like the team, and this is what they're trying to figure out. Was a team holding off and labeling him having a concussion? They send him to the neurologist first and see, hey, if the neurologist says, yeah, he has a concussion, then now we got to label him. Or if the neurologist is like, no, he doesn't have a concussion, so we don't have to label him. So therefore, we don't have to put him in the NFL concussion protocol. And I think that's what happened, where like neurologist is like, no, he's fine. Okay, so we don't have to label him. And they ran with the back injury. So therefore, he never went into the NFL concussion protocol. So then therefore, he was able to play week 4. But I think everything that's coming out now is that according to the reports, that the neurologist apparently didn't do a proper job in evaluating him. And if he would have, then he would have been into the concussion protocol. So that's the reports that are coming out. I don't know.
Right.
That's everything that I'm reading.
Again, this is all unfortunate, and this is not 100% not what this show is about. But I just think it's very, very interesting. Either he did his job or he did do his job.
Yep.
And if he was not under the concussion protocol, then that would not trigger for him to do as thorough of a job. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if I have 10 steps to do,
I know what you're saying.
Right?
Yeah.
If I have 10 steps to do for a concussion protocol, and these are my guidelines.
Yep.
And then you bring somebody to me, you know, hey, just check him out, double check he's okay. We think he's fine. I may only do 5. Like, why, you know, and therefore
Correct.
I'm not violating the guideline because he wasn't presented to me under the concussion protocol.
Correct. Exactly.
Right?
See, that's a perfect example. And I'll give you another example that you're talking about. So in the NBA and the NFL, every player before the season begins, they take a what's called an impact test. There's a computerized exam test that determines like your cognitive levels type of thing, right?
Right.
So if you go into the NFL concussion protocol, you're not allowed to return until you get the same exact score that you did when you weren't concussed. Now, if you're not in the concussion protocol, you don't need to take that test.
Right.
So that's the same question that you're talking about.
That's what I'm asking. So
Exactly.
if I'm the independent neurologist, why y'all firing me? Right?
That's the part.
That's my question.
The reason why, and the truth is that somebody's got to take the fall.
I understand that, but like I said, I'm not saying that. I think the bottom line is that there needs to be rules and guidelines, period, straight across the board. Maybe they can make a rule that they have to sit out at least 10 days, something like that. You know, for things like this happen is unfortunate. We obviously don't want anybody to get hurt. Yep. But again, like I just think it's very interesting, you know, how they do it. And I think they're actually putting more pressure on the independent neurologists on the job they do when the neurologist should be blaming the offensive line personally, because why is this guy keep on getting
knocked out
to the ground? Yeah. But anyway, Brian Hoyer. You know, Isaiah McKenzie and Tyrod Taylor, you know, just to wind this up, we say that they're going to go through concussion protocol. And they're going to finish all steps.
And that's the interesting part about this now. And it's going to be interesting for the rest of the year is that now all of a sudden, all these players that may suspect to have a concussion are being automatically thrown into the concussion protocol. Like I said, Brian Hoyer, Isaiah McKenzie, Tyrod Taylor, they're all officially in the NBA and the NFL concussion protocol type of thing. After the whole Tua incident, now it seems like everybody's like, hey, you know what, to be safe. But here's the thing, like you said, it shouldn't take an incident like this for them to trigger this. It should have already been done no matter what. But
right, yeah, there we go. Well, we're gonna go ahead and take a break, and then we're gonna talk about updates and probably answer some questions if we have some.
Hi, I'm Renee Starms of the Starms Agency. Do you know why 97% of startups fail? It's because they don't have the proper exposure. So for the first time ever, Infinity Studios and the Starms Agency have come together to provide you with the Little Guys Big Marketing Package. Now, this is for local Los Angeles businesses who are ready to launch, relaunch, or simply expose their business to grow. With this package, you're going to receive 6 months of online and offline marketing tactics in a customized plan for your business. You're also going to get a professional TV quality commercial filmed in an 1,800 square foot studio with multiple screening options. So if you're ready to grow, go ahead and click that link. We also have financing available. I'm looking forward to chat with you. Click the link and let's go.
Welcome back, everybody. So we want to get into, I think we have a question on the board about who we should trade. Let's go ahead and look over that right quick. The trade is a potential trade is Mike Sanders. I mean Miles Sanders and to receive Debo. Yeah, no, Waddle and Sanders to receive Debo. Man, I think Teddy Bridgewater can't throw the Waddle, and Tua's out. We don't know how long he's going to be out. They're going to be overly cautious. Man, we're right here in the meat of the of the season. We're coming up week 5, 6, and 7. Like this could kind of make a break. I would do that trade. For Debo because Debo definitely is multi-faceted player. So, what do you think?
No, I agree with you. So, like I said, Jalen Waddle, obviously with Tua being out with a concussion, I think they're going to be overly cautious with him, bringing him back because there's a spotlight on the whole entire Miami Dolphins and sports medicine staff right now, type of thing. So they're not going to rush Tua back whatsoever. They're going to take the time with him. So Bridgewater is going to be the quarterback there. Is he able to get the ball to him? Miles Sanders on the other hand, he had a great game today. I have him in one of my leagues. It's a little bit frustrating because he'll go off one game, but then Jalen Hurts all of a sudden takes over and becomes the running back for the Philadelphia Eagles, and then Miles Sanders doesn't really do anything. Now, I actually like Debo because Debo, you're getting both almost a running back and a receiver, so to speak. And then with Garoppolo there, Garoppolo likes Debo a lot, so he's going to throw the ball to him. So either way, I mean, I'm trying to trade for Debo myself. So, yeah, I would go with this trade.
All right, cool. So I think we agree on that. So let's go ahead and talk about David Montgomery. He's on my team. He has a knee and an ankle. Which one are we going to work on first, the knee or the ankle?
It depends which was the worst one type of thing on this part. So the downside to this is that he did not practice whatsoever last week.
Yeah.
Did not get with the team, did not go on the field whatsoever. So that's a little concerning. So as far as him returning for week 5, I don't expect him to return week 5 unless all of a sudden he has a miraculous recovery. He's able to get 3 full practices this upcoming week type of thing. I expect him probably to come back and get some practices. I don't expect him to be back week 5. So if you have Herbert on your lineup, or if you can somehow grab him, if he's still available, which I'd be very surprised if he's available anywhere, unless you have you're in a league that only has like 6 teams or something like that. Right. Other than that, I'd be surprised he'll be back for week 5.
All right, so Andre Smith, I'm sorry, Swift with the shoulder injury, he didn't practice last week either. So that's correct. That means that he probably won't be full capacity. We're going to keep him on the bench.
Correct. And then remember, there was a little statement that his head coach mentioned that it might be a good idea for DeAndre Swift to take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks of rest. So I think they were kind of insinuating or hinting that, hey, this might be something more than just a 1 week kind of process. So you're going to expect him out for at least 2 weeks, which means week 5 and then week 4. So he wouldn't be ready for potentially not until week 6, the earliest that he may be able to come back.
Okay, let's go ahead and talk about, man. We got another concussion with Hunter Renfrow, but he's already gone through. He went. Apparently, we know they've done everything right. They've gone. It's been 1 week. He went through the NFL concussion protocol. We expect him to probably be back, or do you? Well, but again, I guess the same question. Are they going to do a double check on him before to be extra cautious?
Well, see, here's the thing about it. Now that Hunter Renfrow sustained the injury, I think week 2. So, week 3. So he's been in the NFL concussion protocol type of thing. So now they do like what's called more of an objective assessments type of thing. He has to pass certain tests before he's allowed to return. He has to be concussion symptom free for 24 hours. Once he's concussion free for 24 hours, then he has to ride a bike, do work on the bike, then wait for 24 hours, stuff like that. So there's a process that Hunter Renfrow has to take type of thing. And then finally he has to take a test and make sure he passes the part. Now, as far as concussion symptoms, everybody's different. There's no timeline. You and I can get concussed at the same time. You may come back sooner because my symptoms are more severe type of thing. It is what it is. It's just a matter of waiting and seeing when he's able to return to practice, and then he'll be eventually get cleared.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about Mac Jones. High ankle sprains, man. I just hate them. So you think he may be back by week 6 or what?
So he sustained this last weekend, was a week 3 of the NFL season. Now, typically a high ankle sprain takes anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks to recover. For those of you guys are Laker fans, if you guys remember, it's empty. We talked about LeBron James had this last year. He came back, I think, in about 6 weeks type of thing. Now, The only advantage that Mac Jones has is that he's not a mobile quarterback. This is something that we talked about last week, is that he's kind of just stays in the pocket, so you can kind of tape him up, put an ankle brace, spat his shoe, and he could be ready to go type of thing. If that's the case, yes, he can potentially come back within 3 weeks. So there's a chance he can come back as early as week 6, as long as he doesn't have to scramble, or as long as it doesn't get hit again in the ankle and he rolls it again. So him being a non-mobile, now if it was like Jalen Hurts, no. Jalen Hurts is going to probably take the full 6 weeks, unless all of a sudden say, hey, I'm Jalen Hurts, I'm not going to be moving, I'm going to stay in the pocket type of thing. So yeah, there's a chance he might be back for week 6. And from my understanding, they need him because Brian Hoyer just got concussed.
Man, yeah, it's all bad for over there. And I don't think we went over. Did we go over Keenan Allen?
No, we skipped.
Yeah, we got to talk about Keenan Allen.
Also on your roster.
He's also on my roster, and I'm gonna tell you, I did not trust Herbert this week. Because I should have. I should have. So I actually benched him, but he actually did pretty well. But yeah, I definitely need Keenan Allen to get back.
Yeah. So the interesting part about Keenan Allen, again, from day one when he had it in week 1, they said, hey, this is very small, very minor. They led us to believe that it was like a grade 1 hamstring strain. He didn't play game 2, week 2, because it was a quick turnaround. It was a Thursday game, which I didn't expect him to play week 2. Week 3 was, a little questionable. Now we're in week 4 and he hasn't played. Now, the interesting part about this is that there was reports out there that he was practicing with the team, and then he left midway practice with the training staff, with the athletic training staff, which leads me to believe that something happened while he was out there on the field, that he had to kind of pull himself out and had to go either time to the training room, which is not a good sign. Now, the San Diego Chargers saying that there is no setback. There may be no setback. But the fact that he left the practice with the training staff is not a good sign. So it's just a matter of waiting to see how he progresses throughout the week.
So I mean, that's one of those things. Like if he comes back this next week, probably not to put him in. He's probably gonna be more of a decoy than anything else. What do you think?
There's a chance, but here's the thing about it with hamstring injuries. You don't even want to put him out there as a decoy because he can really aggravate that, and he can maybe out for another 4 to 6 weeks type of thing. So if it's a hamstring injury, they're going to wait till he's actually 100% to be able to kind of play. So when he does come back, I think I feel confident that you can put him in a slot.
Okay, cool. So we went through all the injuries. So what's your waiver wire pick of the week? Do you have one this week?
So I have 2. Okay. One is probably one of the first ones. Obviously, I think I had mentioned earlier was Melvin Gordon, running back with the Denver Broncos. Now that this is with Javonte Williams, it's suspect that he may have a serious knee injury, and what that tells me is that I suspect he's going to have like a major MCL, or hopefully does not have an ACL injury type of thing. So Melvin Gordon is going to carry the loads. Now, one of the hidden sleepers that I'm looking at, this is a young kid, rookie Brian Robinson with the Washington Commanders. If you remember his story, he got shot during a robbery way before week 1, and now he's actually returning. He's on the field. He's been practicing with the team. They expect him to take him off the PUP list, and he can potentially return as early as week 6. He definitely won't be back for week 5. But if none of your other managers kind of see this and he's there and you have room to stash him, grab him, stash him, put him on your bench. Because I know the Washington Commanders are looking for him to be the next go-to guy. Yes, they have Gibson out there, but Gibson hasn't performed that great. He's had a good game or 2, but those are probably my 2 waiver wire picks.
Well, let me just say something about Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon, first of all, he's on my team. He scored negative 2 points today. He had the opportunity to go ahead and perform once got out, but he didn't do anything. But I'm going to keep him. I'm going to say, okay, he's going to be there full time to do the run.
You're right. They have to. Now, the downside to Melvin Gordon, and I think this is some of the reports.
I do 3. Well, I'm sorry, cut you off. 3 rushes. 3 rushes.
He did.
He fumbled. And he fumbled and lost. He fumbled twice.
Correct. And so far in 4 games, he's had 4 fumbles.
Right.
Okay. So I know the Denver.
I don't know, y'all. I don't know about this pick because I actually have Melvin Gordon on my team, but he is on 79% of rosters.
Correct. And I agree with you. I know from the reports that I'm reading is that so far the Denver Broncos may not be so high on him right now, but that's all they have right now. So the other question is, we got to keep an eye on and see who the Denver Broncos bring in for workouts, especially if it does end up being an ACL injury with Javonte Williams. They're going to have to bring somebody else, or they're going to have to just roll with Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. So listen, I even though this guy got a concussion today, but I'm still gonna have him as my waiver wire pickup for a stash is Isaiah McKenzie. We know he's not gonna probably play next week. But when he gets back in there, he's actually been really good and consistent.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those players that gets you an average of maybe about 10 to 15 points, which is a good always pickup. Sometimes you can't get somebody that's going to get 25 or 30 points every time, but you need somebody to kind of get you at least 10 to 15. Isaiah McKenzie has been really performing well prior to this concussion. So he's my waiver wire pick. We got one more question out here, Marco. Would we get out Kamara for an MT for what's that, Michael Thomas? Probably, or for Dalvin Cook and Metcalf? Oh, I like MT. Dalvin Cook and Metcalf. If I could get MT, I probably would want to get him on my team. I was Kamara. You never really know, especially with the quarterback situation over there between Winston and Dalton over there for the Saints. So I probably would, because I'm getting MT, I probably would take that trade. That's what I would do. What do you think?
So they're trading Kamara and MT for Dalvin Cook and DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
I would rather roll with Kamara and MT.
You would? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, I got that. I like MT too. Metcalf, can Gino really get him the ball? That's the thing. Like I personally like running backs more favorably than receivers. Simply mainly because like getting the receiver the ball, unless you are the main guy knowing us to throw to, like Evans from Brady.
Yep.
Brady. They're always able to spread them around, and whoever is hot based on the defense is what you have to really worry about, that or who they're actually playing. And the defensive scheme that they have on receivers. Running backs is kind of like your running back. So,
correct.
They're definitely going to get the touches.
So if we're looking at statistics, MT game 1 had 2 touchdowns. He had game 2, he had another touchdown. So he's had 3 touchdowns. He got injured game 3. So we have to see when he returns, type of thing. Now, if you're in a PPR league, Kamara is a great PPR monster. Once he gets rolling, he gets both. He's a workhorse. He both gets the handoffs, and he's going to get some passes as well. So I kind of like that combination. I mean, I love Dalvin Cook, but he has not been producing this week. I mean, this year so far. And then, like you said, Geno Smith, although Geno Smith had a really good game today.
Yeah, he did.
So it's interesting.
But he's hit and miss, though.
Correct.
That's the thing about fantasy football. I need consistency.
Correct. I agree with you. And that's if between this, I would rather roll with Kamara and MT.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's it for this week on the Waiver Wire. I want everybody to tune in to us. Follow us on the Waiver Wire Pod, Waiver Wire on Twitter. We go live on Twitter Wednesday at 9:00, so you guys could get updates on all the injuries that we talked about today, and who we think is actually going to be ready to suit up for that Sunday coming up. So that's it. Money Mike, Marco Nunez. We're out. We'll see you next week.